stones are harder than steel files. The Egyptians are supposed to have had only copper tools to work these stones into shape. This is difficult enough, almost unimaginable, as far as the sculpture is concerned. When we come to hollowing out stone bowls carved of these materials, it beggars the imagination, and yet there are the bowls, and there are the statues. Further evidence, we think, although we can't really prove this, is the esoteric message enshrined within some of this magnificent sculpture. Seen one way, we have, for example, in the Khafra statue, Horus protecting the king. Seen another way, we see Horus as the principle of salvation, or return to the source, assimilated into the consciousness of the king. So we have a portrait of the divinized, or exalted, or self-realized human being. Two different ways of looking at exactly the same statue. This is carved out of that special kind of diorite. I said that in indirect lighting glows. And this is an impenetrable rock that when sculptors see this and they look at the finish on it, and you look down even from here, you see where the light is on it? I mean, it's a perfect finish. There isn't a ripple in it. It's almost unbelievable. But one of the really interesting things about this one, as far as I'm concerned, is when you look at it, if you look at it head on, all you see is the king, right? It's only when you get around to the side, that you see the falcon behind his head. Now the falcon represents, of course, higher consciousness, the return to the source, salvation, blah, blah. But the message, to me, is a very deliberate one on the part of the sculptor. He didn't have to do it that way. He can show the falcon bigger. You see even the way the falcon's wings are smoothed down into the headdress so you can't see him. So, in other words, enlightenment is not obvious. In other words, from the front, just a king, a very royal king. But from the side, and it's usually said Horus is protecting the king. The king doesn't need any goddamn protection. What's really being symbolized is that he's integrated the Horus consciousness into his own. If we look at these magnificent specimens of Old Kingdom art and realize that these are not just works of genius sculpture, but that they enshrine a highly sophisticated metaphysical and scientific doctrine, we begin to realize that ancient Egypt is not as we have been taught, and that this doctrine could not have been developed within a couple of hundred years, and is almost certainly a legacy handed down over the generations from that still earlier civilization.
A strange and very provocative relic from earliest pre-dynastic Egypt is the Nama palette. Underlying its enigmatic symbolism is evidence